Hello everybody and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I'm going to be doing my January wrap up for you guys. Honestly, I didn't get to that many books in January, but like, that's fine because I generally, well, actually, it started out, you know, real hot. I read a fantastic book. I loved it. And then it kind of just started to like go downhill from there, but it's fine. I still generally enjoyed all the books that I read, so we're just gonna get into it. I hope you enjoy. So all 5 of these books actually make up 2 different series that I've been reading, so not a lot of variety here. It's fine, we're just gonna get into it. The first series I'm gonna talk about, I've just been, you know, smashing out the content for it recently, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I didn't read A Court of Thorns and Roses this month because I read it last month, but I read the rest of like the kind of main series. You know, I haven't read A Court of Silver Flames yet, but the rest of them, yes. I guess first up I'll talk about A Court of Mist and Fury. This book was absolutely the best book I've read so far this year. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. This is the first book I read. I feel like it bodes well for the rest of the year. Maybe? At any rate, this book really just hit every mark in the fantasy romance category that I had. It's kind of got enemies to lovers. It's got the one bed trope. The ending of this book was absolutely so explosive. Probably like maybe the most interesting ending to a book that I've read yet. Like, so many things happened. When I was reading this, I was freaking the hell out because everything, it was coming from left, it was coming from the right. I was like, whoa, we need to calm down now. Honestly, moving my head like that made me dizzy. Just like the end of this book. I just had such a good time reading the end of this book, and overall, I just really loved this book. And mainly it was the romance that did it for me. Like, I just love Rhys and Feyre. In this book, at least. I was starting to learn about their relationship. I just really enjoyed it. The first part of this book, so good. Middle part did kind of drag like a little bit, but then once I got to the ending, it like completely made up for it. This is my favorite book out of the series, as I'm sure it's a lot of people's. So there's A Court of Mist and Fury. No one's surprised that I loved it. Okay, next up we have A Court of Wings and Ruin. I gave this one a must consult Goodreads. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed this book a lot. Specifically the first part of this book though. I just really enjoyed where the story was going, and then once I got towards the middle, it slowed down so much. Then I thought it might have picked back up at the end, but it really didn't. I don't know. I know the ending was like big battle sequence, wars are happening. The ending of this book was really lackluster. I feel like something really big needed to happen, and it didn't. Like, she almost went there, and then she like pulled back at the last second, and it made me really upset. I was like, something should have happened. One character in specific should have gotten the boot. Like, I love them, but something really big needed to happen at the end of this book for it to make like that impact on me, and it really didn't, which is fine because I still really enjoy the characters a lot. I like the relationship dynamics, but also Rhys and Feyre being in an established relationship was a little less interesting. I mean, maybe you're into that, but I just kind of lost interest just a little bit. I still like them. It's still fun, but I do prefer the Rhys and Feyre from A Court of Mings and Ruin. That's not even the name of this book. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I don't see myself ever reading this book specifically again. Like, I would 100% read A Court of Thorns and Roses again and A Court of Mist and Fury again, but I would not read either of these 2 books that I'm about to talk about, Wings and Ruin or the next one. So there's my segue. I also read A Court of Frost and Starlight. I understand the point of this book. Don't get me wrong. I know it's supposed to be focusing on them and how they're dealing with their trauma from the war, and I do think that's important because you don't really see a whole lot of that in like these high fantasy stories, but this book was really boring, if we're being honest here. There were parts of this book that I really liked because the whole idea is that they're getting ready for the winter solstice. They're going to buy each other gifts. It was cute. I enjoyed the parts of this book where they were like, should I get her this diamond necklace? Or like, whatever. Just like out shopping. It was cute, but nothing happened. And I know it's a novella, and like, nothing really is supposed to happen. I enjoyed seeing Feyre like setting up her art shop and seeing like a little bit into the potential relationship of Cassian and Nesta. I enjoyed seeing that and like it setting up A Court of Silver Flames, but overall I would not read this book again, but it wasn't awful. I don't regret reading it. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. She was okay, just not my favorite, you know? I finished up the original books. I guess these are the original books. I finished some of the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I really don't know if A Court of Silver Flames is considered a part of the normal series. I guess it is, but it's like more of a spin-off. I don't know how to categorize it, but it's not like it really matters anyway. Overall, I'm very glad that I decided to read the ACOTAR series. It was so entertaining, and it really defined the end of my winter break. Like, whenever I think about junior year, winter break, this series will be living rent-free in my head. Overall, I enjoyed it so much. Individual books, the ending needed to be stronger, but I just love the characters so much. So the last 2 books that I read this month were also part of a series, and I've been wanting to get to this series for a while. I started filming like a fantasy romance reading vlog, and I needed something else to like add to the vlog, so I decided to pick this up via audiobook. So I read God, what's it called? A Touch of Darkness, which is a Hades and Persephone. I guess it's not really, is it a retelling? I mean, it's literally just them. So like, it's the actual characters. So is that a retelling, or is that just the story? Oh, also I just realized you can see my crusty plant. Oh, you poor dear. There we go. That's not the point. I was talking about A Touch of Darkness. So this book is about Persephone, who has been sheltered her whole life by her mother Demeter, but now she has moved to New Athens, which is literally just New York but Greek. She is working for a newspaper, she's in college, and then you also have Hades, who is the owner of like a nightclub, but you know, he's like the lord of the underworld and whatnot. It's like a side gig, I guess. One day she decides to write a story about him, I guess. I don't even remember how she landed on that concept, but it happened, they met, romance ensued. I gave this book a 3.75 out of 5 stars, and I don't usually go for quarter stars, but this one I think really needed it. Yes, I loved this book. I thought it was so just entertaining and fun. I really enjoyed most of the characters, but my main problem is that Persephone is really a dumb bitch. Like, she's so stupid sometimes, and it's kind of infuriating because she's, I don't know, she'll just, the things she says and the things she does, I'm like, do you use your brain ever? It was a little Wattpad-y, okay? And I've read my fair share of Wattpad stories back in the day. We're not going to talk about it, but I have. And just the way that the plot progressed and the way that Persephone was written, I don't know. It wasn't awful. I enjoyed the story and I thought it was really fun, but the plot was not really well developed. Some of the characters were really annoying, but I also really loved some of the characters. Hermes is probably my favorite character in all of these books, along with Hecate. Like, they really made these books for me. Every time they'd have a scene, I'd be like, oh my gosh, hey, I want to start paying attention again. So then that like kind of also segues me to A Touch of, God, what is that one called? I literally finished it yesterday. A Touch of Ruin. There we go. I feel like Persephone was even dumber in this one somehow, and the plot with this one was even worse. I feel like so many things were going on, but like also nothing really happened. Like a bunch of different events went down, but they weren't really connected. I don't know. It was just kind of, I don't want to call it all over the place, because generally it made sense when you were like reading it, but just a lot was going on. I would like to read other Hades and Persephone retellings though, because you know, I love Greek mythology and I love the concept, and I think the reason I liked the first one was because I haven't read a Hades and Persephone retelling before, so it was new and different, but at the same time I was like, I know these characters, so it was like kind of familiar. I don't know, just the feeling, it was really good, but it just wasn't executed quite right. I don't want to be mean because I did really like the first book, but the second book let me down. And honestly, I probably will read the third book because I've been listening to these via audiobook and they're really good to just like throw on while you're doing something, so I only have to like half pay attention. That's kind of nice. I'm not really that interested in the plot, but I do want to see if Persephone can somehow redeem herself in my eyes. I know it's a very common complaint that she's really stupid in these books, but it's true. That's the video. Those are all the books I read in January. Thinking back to last January, I think I read like 20 books, and I don't know what kind of crack I was on because even getting through 5 was a stretch. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please let me know down below what is your favorite book you read in January, or if you are feeling shady, let me know your least favorite book you read in January and why. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!